Bigfoot, I don't care about you. Bigfoot, I hardly think about you. You usually are the last thing on my mind. Till some stupid late night TV show comes on and just makes me laugh.
Hi, guys.
Good evening, everyone. Who do we got in chat?
Well, let's find out.
Donald Fuller. Donald Fuller, good. Great to have you, Donald. We're going to have more people, trust me. Real happy to have our guest tonight, Tristan Yolton. And we're going to bring him up. There he is, Mr. Tristan.
Hey,
how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
It's been a minute, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, we got Nikki in the chat. Look at that. That's one of my favorite people in the whole world. Nikki has the Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks. One
Nice.
of my absolute favorite people. We're going to have her in a couple weeks with a few other people. And I'd just like to say, Tristan, you and I met doing Bigfoot stuff. We were in a camp and you came driving in and
Just came out of nowhere.
Tell us about that. Tell us about this.
Well, I've been going to Bumping Lake since 2015. And I've been going there because there's been a lot of Bigfoot activity. And the place that you were at, we call it a rock camp. And we've had a lot of vocalizations and a lot of speech going on at those campouts there. And so I was just stopping by and I wanted to put a recorder out to get some sounds. And no matter who was in the camp, I was just going to ask, hey, is it okay if I put a recorder up here? And I've never met you before. And It was really surprising to see you there. And I think you asked me, like, after I asked if I could put the recorder up, you're like, Bigfoot? I'm like, yeah. So that really surprised me when you asked me that. And then we started talking.
Yeah.
It was great.
I knew right away you were a good kid, man. I knew it right away. I was like, got the same passion and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, how long do you think we talked? Probably an hour before you even had that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We talked through a whole bunch of subjects, and you told me about your encounters, and it seemed like an hour flew by pretty fast. And the other funny thing is that we used to get sounds up on this hill there behind your campsite. And I decided that day to go higher up because I want to get better, clear sounds. So I went higher up on the hill and I put the recorder on a tree. And in the next day when I came back to get it, I had trouble finding it because all the trees look the same up there. So it took me a while.
So I like to just say, so Tristan shows up with his dad the next day. And I meet his dad and we talk about my encounter and we talk a lot about Bigfoot and what's going on in the Bigfoot world. Tristan takes off. Now, Mom's waiting back at camp. They got to get going back. There's a long drive wherever they live. That's a secret. Somewhere in Washington State.
Somewhere. Yes,
and
in Washington.
So anyway, I'm really enjoying Tristan's dad's company. It's wonderful. Half hour goes by and he looks at his watch, and he's like, geez, I wonder what's going on up there. So another 20 minutes, Tristan comes walking down the bush and he's like, I forgot where I put it. That was hilarious because we've done that too.
Yeah.
You get into a deep area and you're like, all these trees look the same.
Yep.
Yeah, they all look the same up there.
It was the year before when we were there.
We did it at Bumping Lake, actually. That's true. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, and I put it off the trail too. So it's like, oh, did I go over here? Oh, I have to walk up further. That's why I got lost, basically, trying to find it.
Yeah, those fir trees, they all look the same.
They do, man. Yeah. So, but I eventually found it because I put my recorders in a little Ziploc bag, keep from any weather or anything like that. And I put a bungee cord around it and I tied it to a tree. And so luckily, I was able to see the little plastic bag sticking out finally. So, yeah. finally
So
found it.
how long have you been going there, Tristan, to Bumping Lake?
2015. I was introduced there through a Bigfoot group that I'm a part of. Originally, on our first camp out, we found some footprints on the lake. The lake this was in October, I believe in October 2015, and it was very cold. It was very cold during that time. Even I'd say it was the coldest time I've ever had to sleep in a sleeping bag. I mean, I had really had to bundle up, and it was just freezing my butt off. So, the next morning we got up and we went to the lake, and my mom actually found these footprints, like 4 sets of footprints going up and down one part of the lake. And some of the group members who stayed there the night before said those footprints weren't there the day before. So they must have happened overnight. And there was like 4 individuals ranging from 8-inch footprints to like 10-inch footprints. It was like a little family group there along the shoreline.
And they're not human. I mean, that is well within human size, and so I just want you to clarify.
Yeah, I don't know
about these tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say for sure they are Bigfoot tracks, but in fact, any evidence that I present, I can't say for sure it's Bigfoot. I'll just say it's a possibility, and I'll leave it up to the viewer to decide or interpret that whatever way they want to. I'm just putting the evidence out there to show people, and if they don't think it's Bigfoot, that's fine. But in terms of these footprints, yeah, I mean, in a way, they kind of look humanoid because they're not the big, big flat footprints. You know what I mean? But they do have some of the features of Bigfoot, like some of the toes are lined in a heart. It's kind of like peas in a pod. That's how the Bigfoot toes are supposed to be.
Right.
So we had some of that in the footprints, and also a lack of an arch. I noticed that some of the footprints had a lack of an arch, and that's also a sign of a possible Bigfoot track.
Plus, it was like freezing cold, right?
Yeah, and plus it was very freezing cold. Yeah, who the heck is going to be out there walking barefoot in that kind of weather? I mean, we were all bundled up when we were even walking around out there looking at the footprints. It was very cold, very icy.
And I know for us to get to Bumping Lake, we have to go through. Even we've gone there in July,
right?
And we still have to go through passes of snow that's plowed off to the ground in July to get there. So that tells you a lot about. We've managed to get there both times with some nice weather.
Right.
So
it gets chilly up there. I mean, last time I was up there was a really cold wind that blew through, and this was like back in October. So before all the snow came in. So
how much time do you spend up there, Tristan? This is important because I always preach the word that, look, you got to go to the same places over and over and over if you want to get results. Hey, Brett, how you doing, buddy? From the Tall Ones is in tonight. He's going with us this coming year, I hope. So, but yeah, how often do you go there? That to Bumping Lake?
Well, usually it opens up in the spring and summer, the Chinook Pass up there. So I try to go up there every year. Every year I really want to go up there. The thing is, like, you just got to wait till the snow to melt and everything like that, and for it to be rather clear. And like I said, Chinook Pass for that to be open.
Yes.
I do try to get up there every year that I can. And also I like to go up there when possibly the water is low, because I think they use the lake for irrigation purposes. So I like to go up there when it's possibly low, and that's when you have a better chance of seeing footprints up there. And also I don't think there's a lot of camping going on towards the fall time. So the less campers, obviously, the better, and a better chance you can get a spot up there too. So
and you're a lot like us. Me and my buddy Grant Sill and Brent Dill, actually, we camp in the fall. Look, to me, there's nobody up there, so that's the greatest time. It may be cold, but you build a fire and put your heavy coat on. I don't have a problem with it. I think I love that more than anything.
Yeah.
As far as that time of year, and knowing that you've been doing this for a little while, and
Mhm.
but you actually do a lot of research throughout the state, don't you? And maybe you go to Oregon at all?
I've never researched in Oregon, though. I've been close. The closest I've gotten was to the Blue Mountains. I've been to the Blue
Mhm.
Mountains a couple of times. That's where what's his name got that footage. I can't remember his name right now. Um, can't remember. It's blocking my mind right now. But somebody got a he used to work for the Forest Service up there in the Blue Mountains. I can't remember that he got that footage back in '92. I can't remember his name at the moment. But I'm
Yeah.
sure the people in the chat know who I'm talking about.
You're not talking about there he is.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my
That's
God.
that's it. That's the guy. Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm sorry. The name escaped me right now, but yeah,
that's
we were
okay.
close to
Let it go. Let it go. That's Paul Freeman.
there. Paul Freeman, thank you. Yeah, the name escaped me. Yes, thank you, Grant. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. So that's the closest I've ever gotten to Oregon, but I would like to go out of state. That would be really nice. So who knows? Maybe in the future.
So where are the areas? You don't have to say like specific towns or anything, but how many different areas do you actually? How much time do you spend in these areas here in Washington State?
Well, like I honestly like if we go to a new area, maybe if I can camp there, maybe I would camp overnight, one night or two. I have been around the state a little bit, not too far away from where I am, but I've been to I've been I've been around different parts of the state, like in Eastern Washington
Mhm.
and down towards Darrington. I've been all over almost, and with different climates. And I try to, like I said, I try to take at least 1 or 2 nights there, and I like to leave a recorder out overnight, and just see what it captures. Because honestly, most of the time when I go researching, I don't see a lot during the daytime. But when you when you go to bed, or you go in your tent or your truck, you leave a recorder out, you'll be surprised at what you hear the next morning. And so yeah, I mean, I've been in tent. I've been in a tent a few times where I've heard something brush up against our truck, messing around with our lawn chairs outside, and obviously I've also heard screams and a lot of vocalizations in certain areas, especially at Bumping Lake. Bumping Lake, I'd say, has the best chance of hearing vocalizations if you want to hear those.
Throughout the years, I've heard of the lake, the spot, all these other shows, not the network I'm involved in, but
Yeah.
the paywall shows
Mhm.
always, and all their guests that go there always are on the paywall side of it, and they always talk about this lake, this place, but it's the target area, it's this and that. It's Bumping Lake, and
Yeah,
if you want to have an encounter, that's pretty much in this state. That's a place to be. Now, unfortunately, the weekend that we met up,
Mhm.
nothing happened. Nothing. We were there for 4 days, and nothing
Yeah,
happened.
I don't know. That's very, very strange.
And we were in
I
that
can't explain
camp
it.
that you talked about was like, other than California camp, that was supposed to be the place. So
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
like
that's
to
where I
get
got
there
some.
early enough this coming year, though, Tristan, where we could dominate both those camps.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I've gotten some of my best vocalizations there. So, and that was in July, honestly. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It seems like maybe in the summertime they might be a little bit more. I know you were in the summertime when you were camping there, but maybe they weren't in that specific area at that time. I don't know. There was a big wildfire just this past summer up in there, so I personally think that they might have moved out of there. Maybe they're back now, but I think the fire might have drove them out. So, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, that we had a park ranger come in, and he told us he pointed up at this ridge, and he was telling us that there is a way, that very, 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 very high ridge, and he told us there is a way. It takes a while to get there, but you could get up there.
Hmm.
And he was telling me, he does not give Bigfoot two tiddlywinks of shit. But
Yeah.
he is friendly to all of us. He had
Oh, that's
Shelly
good.
Montana's card in his wallet and all that stuff. And but he was a very friendly guy and all that. And very open. I asked him how long he's been doing it and if he'd ever encountered anything. And he just said, nope. But that doesn't mean, I didn't encounter anything either. And
Right.
so,
Right. It's not a guarantee every time. I think people should know that, understand that. Like, don't go, oh, hey, this guy's been to Bumping Lake and he's had Bigfoot activity, so we're gonna have that too. Well, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, and another thing I want to mention is, like, that lake is pretty popular during the summertime.
right.
You're gonna see a lot of people up there, so and they're gonna be walking around too. So that's the thing. I think there might be a combination of Bigfoot and people up there at the lake. So if you find footprints up there, don't totally assume that it's Bigfoot. And like I'm saying with the stuff that I found up there, I'm not going to say it's Bigfoot, because it could be a mixture of human and Bigfoot up there, if that's the case.
Well, you notice those camps. So now we're in dispersed camps. Now we're off the lake.
Yes.
Where you and I met and everything. And you have the California camp, you have that camp, but all the other camps in between, they're all very, very, very spaced apart.
Right.
So when you shared with me the first time,
Right.
some of the vocals you've gotten by putting your recorder way up, people have to understand there's no camps anywhere near there. Okay.
Right.
And what I heard, what you had, reminded me a lot of when my wife and I's first weekend when they were back there. It was just that you could hear them.
Yes.
You can hear what we'd almost assume is people. But knowing, being there at Bumping Lake, I know, and where you put your recorder, there's no way it's human beings. There's no way. It's just no way.
No, you're right. It's a big space between Raw Camp and California Camp per se. And there's nothing in between.
Right.
So there's no other campers behind you. There's nobody walking around you up in there. It's totally like, it's wilderness. So to hear voices on the recorder from that position, and I had the recorder pointed towards the mountainside. It wasn't even pointed towards your side, so it would have caught whatever was behind your campsite, basically talking. And where you guys were camping, I think was pretty far away enough from the recorder. It wouldn't pick you guys up on there. Yeah. So yeah, and like you said, like the vocalization, the chatter sounds kind of like a Native American kind of a language. It's kind of hard to put it into a category, but it's a language. It's not like a primate speak per se. There might be some primate utterances in between their words, but it's really like somebody talking almost. Like
it sounds like it sounds like when deaf people talk. When they're doing this, they're going. But you also have there's some vowel sounds in there,
right.
But it's all far enough away, muffled enough. But there's no way that that could pick up, especially in a plastic bag, somebody who's a quarter mile away in their campsite.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So that's why I really like what you have.
Yeah, and like you're just saying, there's some stuff in between their words,
right?
So that helps tell me that's not a human talking, because humans don't talk in that kind of way. It's kind of hard to describe without hearing it, but after hearing it, you could tell that it's not a human talking, and it's not really similar to the Sierra sounds. I also want to bring that up. It sounds pretty different in my opinion.
Nothing.
So I think depending on what region you're in and maybe what state you're in, it might have
different. The Sierra sounds are a black bear.
Yeah,
it's a black bear.
Okay.
I done pulled that up and found the black bears fighting and gave it to Cornell, and I actually found this while watching a hunting video, and the sound is absolutely identical to the thing. That's black bears.
Okay.
Yep. And no, it is. It is. There's no getting around it. It is. And when they killed the black bear in that spot is when all the noise and all the activity stopped. as far as that goes. So,
Okay.
but I'm telling you, I did this on a show last week, and Cornell brought it up. Somebody, his moderator, found it because I struggled today to find it. I wanted to have that for a future show, and
Right.
you know, I still have a week or so to dig it up. But it was a blonde bear going after a black-faced black bear and a blonde-faced black bear at a baiting site this guy was hunting.
Wow.
He got the whole thing on tape, and these two things were butting heads and their noses back and forth, and they were doing this exactly. It was
Wow.
exactly.
Wow. I'd like to hear that. I've never heard something like that. Huh. Very interesting. Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know how else to compare these sounds then. Something, to known Bigfoot recordings. I don't know.
We don't really have any. That's why guys like you that have things, we can at least listen. And well, the whooping. Who knows what? I mean, who knows if he got that whooping there or is that added? Because now that we know that it's a black bear, and I have to come into question everything about it. But this show isn't about him. We'll have the hoaxing show here in a couple of weeks, and not everybody that presents bad information is a hoaxer. I want to make that very clear. I do not think Ron Moorhead is a hoaxer. So I want to make that very clear. And like I said, the whooping, we don't know if that's been put in there or not, but the whooping in his tapes sounded exactly what my wife and I.
Yep.
So yeah,
I've heard whooping like that too. So I don't know where that came from. Very interesting.
Well, let's play one of his.
Yeah, that'd be great.
On the sound. What I did was I took that long one and I broke it up into 3 different pieces because that was just like a constant. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I actually so long we can't play the whole thing. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely play some of that. I just want to say real quick that I had to edit that down myself because while that was going on, I had to wait. I tried to wake my mom up saying this was going on at 2 a.m. in the morning. This just comes out of nowhere at 2 a.m. in the morning. I said, I was trying to get my mom up, like, Mom, you got to hear this. And
it was how consistent it was, just continuous throughout that whole thing. That was amazing.
Yeah, and it was across the way. This was at California camp, and I don't know exactly where this came from, but it was from across the road. It could even be coming from the lake. I have no idea. It is so loud. The audio doesn't do justice how loud it really was. It was just amazing to hear. So again, I can't say for sure this is a Bigfoot vocalization or if somebody was call blasting. I don't know, but it goes on. It goes on for like a half hour. I even had to cut it down to 60 minutes for you guys, but it kept going on and on and on. So I don't know.
I was just the consistency of it, how continuous it was. Just that's what got me.
Yeah,
just a human wouldn't do that, not that way. So I'm gonna play a minute of it here.
Okay.
Here we go.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was just the first little piece of it that I took off.
There was a difference.
That's just the beginning. You haven't even really. I mean, that isn't really.
Yeah, that's just the first little piece of it.
But that beginning call is very similar to similar audio recordings from like Snohomish. There was Snohomish recordings and that whoop howl call. I mean, that's
toward the end of that. I caught 2 different tones.
Yeah.
It literally changed the tone. Now, I don't, I mean, I don't know. I would trust Bill Reed to tell me his opinion on that.
Let's see what the comments have.
Yeah, and I don't know how. And again, I don't know how many individuals there were, because you hear like a male voice doing that kind of call, and then you hear this other female sounding voice coming up. So
that definitely caught my attention. That's really good stuff, Tristan.
Yeah. Like I said, it's very similar to the Snohomish recordings that they used to get back in the 70s and even the Peel Up Screamer. I mean, it's very similar to that kind of tone. So yeah, and it gets crazier. It gets crazier. It's quite the alarm, you're sleeping and it's like all of a sudden you start hearing this, like, oh wow. And I had the recorder. I mean, that's the thing. I had the recorder going before I went to bed, so I was able to catch that. And yeah,
it's crazy.
That was on a Tascam recorder, which has like 2 microphones on it, and it picks up things very well. So I'm glad I was able to catch it on that
And you got that at California camp?
Yeah, that was a California camp. Yeah.
So I really would like I really would like to, you, me, Brent, and Grant Sill, and possibly Alexander Petikov at some point. I'd like for us to be in both of those spots. Dominate those spots for at least 4 days, and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think I mean that was taken in July. So I mean, again, I don't know. The months, it's a gamble. When you go up there, it's a gamble. You either get something or you don't. So I think, like you say, like the longer you stay there, the better chance you might get something. But
my poor buddy Grant Seal, he was supposed to go with us this year.
Oh, okay.
and his girls wanted to do something else that weekend. I was like, dang it.
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, Brent should definitely get up there if he hasn't. Man, it's crazy. I mean, even if you don't get any sounds, you can at least check out hopefully if the lake is down, you can check that out for any kind of prints. Because that lake goes on for miles,
Yeah. We actually pulled into the lake the first year we went there, and because we didn't know what we were doing, we didn't know where we were going, and I was really sick back then, so we got there and we still found a great spot, and with plenty of them open on the 4th of July. We drove in there on the 4th of July and found a great dispersed camp with tons of dispersed camps available. Wow. There's so much space in that national forest up there. So much space. The difference between the Gifford Pinchot is, well, I'd like to get you over here this year too. Spend a weekend with us up here at our spot. But you'll notice a difference in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, and when you get down to Wenatchee National Forest and the Yakima National Forest, it's such a difference. You guys have all that lodgepole pine, all that there.
Right.
No berries. Here, we've got every kind of berry there is. It's really something.
Wow.
No, Donald, actually, you can get in there. We've seen people in cars.
Yeah.
There are some ruts and all that stuff, but your campsites are very, very dispersed. There's lots of room. And when we were there this last where we met Tristan, there was a lot of 4-wheelers that weekend, but they never come in your camper, and they just use that main drag to go back and forth. And we found elk tracks. We found all kinds of stuff in there. So yeah.
Yeah, there's abundance of elk and deer around in there. I mean, a lot of wildlife, and it's pretty. I mean, it's funny they call it Bumping Lake. That road, that dirt road, is pretty bumpy because there's a lot of rocks and things like that. So it's always funny to see people racing through there in their trucks. Is like you could easily pop a tire if you're not careful.
It's such a beautiful area, though. Is what the pine cones are like 16 or 18 inches. I love those things.
They're big. Yeah,
I brought home a giant bag of those because I want to paint them for Christmas. I just think they're so cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. And the other thing is, like, we're at an elevation that's pretty high up in the mountains. Yeah. And also you have to drive really far back in there. We're talking way back into the wilderness back in there. So I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect habitat for them. They got a lot of cliffs and a lot of high rises. If they need to go up to, they can do that and come back down if they need to. And that's the thing. They got their sources. They got water, they got food, they got shelter up above, and that's really all you need, really, to survive up there for them.
And in the rock camp, you told us about that trail behind the camp to go up, and so her and I went up that. We found just bursting out of the ground coral mushrooms.
Yep.
Gosh, so there's a food source right there. All right,
Absolutely.
big coral mushrooms bursting out of the ground. Then you had that whole rock slide of granite, and then a trail. I was still recovering from being sick, and so I couldn't go any further than that. But we got a lot of video of that. Is perfect territory for any animal that likes steepness.
Yes,
cover.
absolutely.
There's food there.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got the lake. Yeah, man. And they got elk. They got elk there. They get. It's a perfect habitat for them. I mean, I don't know what more I could say about that. It's like that's perfect. Yeah. So.
You have don't you have something you could show us? Would you mind telling us where you collected this, by the way?
Okay.
Let me show them a picture real quick.
Yeah.
I've got a picture.
Okay.
And then you can tell them about.
It's going to be a big surprise. Big surprise. Okay.
Ta-da! So I'm not going to claim for sure that's Bigfoot scat, but we think that's Bigfoot scat. My mother found that in Greenwater. She was out. Actually, she was attending to. She had a game camera out there that she was checking. And as she was out there, she stumbled across this big pile of scat. And we still have it. I can try to show you it.
And it is a big.
It is big.
It's big.
Yeah.
Size of a Coke can.
The picture does not even give it justice.
Yeah, and we've had this for a few years, and it's also frozen. We keep it frozen, so it's not like it's gonna, fall apart in my hand or like get all gooey and stuff. I'll just try to show you here. It's pretty big, and it's very cylindrical. I guess I could take it out. It's very cylindrical, and here's a Coke can, for measure or for size comparison.
Wow.
I feel sorry for the ass to put that out.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you hear screams at night, So we actually showed this to a BFRO researcher, and he according to him, he thought it was Bigfoot scat from what he's seen and what people have told him. So I don't know. I've never seen scat like that before. That's definitely not.
I've hunted pretty much my whole life here in the Pacific Northwest. I've never seen anything like that ever.
Yeah.
So
it's very surprising. I mean, it's shocking to see that. It's in person. It's like, wow.
So did you taste that to make sure that wasn't like a giant chocolate bar?
No.
Oh wait, if you had to say
No, I did not. You got dehydrated. We keep it frozen. It's frozen. Yeah. Never got tested or anything like that, but who knows?
You do a lot of research with your mom, right?
Yeah. We research everywhere. I mean, we go on the campouts together. We have our own research places that we go to, and I'll just quickly tell you how it started. Really, how this whole thing started for me. One morning, my dad was taking out the trash before he was going to work, and he heard these whoops up on this hill that's behind where I live, up in this forest. There's a forest nearby, and he heard these whoops, kind of like what you heard kind of like we were talking about on this here sounds, those whoops. He heard those up on the hill, and he eventually told me and my mom about it, and we were like, oh, okay. So she and I both went up there, and we left out our recorder and we heard about habituation. We also left out some food, like some peanut butter crackers and a peanut butter jar. And sure enough, the next morning or the next day, we went back up there, and the peanut butter crackers were gone, and it looked like they were opened up with they weren't like ripped open. They're like carefully opened up, like a hand would have opened them, and they were gone. And the peanut butter jar was also looked like it was also tampered with, and there's actually fingerprints inside of the peanut butter jar, like a hand went inside of it and was digging out the peanut butter. And I think I sent you a picture of that too, of like the peanut butter jar with the dermal ridges on the side of it. And I had a recorder up there too, and the recorder wasn't disturbed. So I was like, oh, well, I thought maybe if it saw the recorder, it would get, it would be gone. I thought the recorder would be gone, to be honest, or damaged, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so I took the recorder home and I listened to it, and then I got that recording that I showed you, the one with the feedback buzzing sound on it.
Yeah.
And after I listened to that, man, I was like, holy crap. Like,
that's what I went through when I tell people about the buzzing thing. That's what I went through that night. And when you sent that to me, over the summer, I was just like, oh God, finally.
Yeah.
Some vindication of what I heard. So yeah, I was very happy with that.
Yeah, I've never heard of before that. I've never heard of anything like that before. And I know some other researchers have said they've heard something similar on their audio recorders too. But that's the first time I've actually ever heard that in a recording. So it's very, and I can't tell you what that is because I don't know what's going on with that. Why is that feedback sound happening? I'm not sure. What's creating that? Why? So, and then after so I don't know if you're going to be able to play that, but I mean, after that whole event happened, that's when I just said, I want to get more recordings. And so I kept putting a recorder out there, and I think they eventually got mad about it, and they kind of stopped coming around up there. And actually, they actually had people come in and take out trees up there, like the lumber, like they had lumber going on up there. So I think it might have been a travel route for the Sasquatch, and maybe when they came in with the lumber, that pretty much took out their whole travel route. Maybe they moved on to somewhere else. So, but that one recording, that's like the big event for me. That's what really started it. And I've always had an interest in Bigfoot ever since growing up, because I've been interested in dinosaurs and monsters and Godzilla and things like that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. And, Loch Ness Monster, the idea of Bigfoot, like, going in that same kind of realm, I thought that was very interesting to me. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. I've always had that interest in Bigfoot growing up. So, but for that event to happen, it's like, wow, maybe I could really actually go out there and research this and not just watch people bring in evidence. Maybe I myself can go out there and search for this, because obviously you don't have to go very far.
All right.
You live to maybe get some evidence. And that's another thing too. You don't have to go very far to get evidence, because I think they're closer than a lot of people think they are.
Tristan, I don't remember if you and I talked about this. We talked a little bit about the Bob Gimlin thing while we met over the summer. And, like you said, you don't have to go far in this state to research Bigfoot.
No.
That's why I believe they encountered Sasquatch in California, because why would you drive that far to hoax something? That just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
Absolutely.
So, but I could have swore you and I, or maybe it was me and your dad, but I know we talked a little bit about that. And, we had a lot of conversation. That was the thing. I'm really happy to have a young guy like you put out the effort that you do. And you're focused on Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Not 50 other cryptids, and you're not out for likes and all this. You're genuine. You're genuine as can be. So I'm really happy to have you in this field.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm not trying to make a name for myself out there. Just for me, I'm not trying to do that. In fact, this is outside of my Bigfoot group on Facebook. The evidence, the stuff that you're showing tonight is really my first public showing of it.
I'm happy to have
I'm
you.
not trying to make a name for myself on it. Just I just want to get the evidence and just share it if I can. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not trying to make money off of it. I'm not trying to do anything like that.
So happy to have Curious Cryptid in the chat. Thank you, Steve, for showing up tonight, buddy. Yeah, I think it's important that we find the right young people. I see Brent Dill, Grant Seal. I see you. I see a few other youngsters that I think Alexander Petikov and some of his crew are going to be the ones that are going to be able to take this over and do it right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the paywalls, and don't worry about the likes and the subs and things like that.
Right.
I was telling my wife, if I can't get there by being honest and presenting this the way I want to present this with truth,
Yep.
dignity, then I don't want it. I don't want sensationalism. I don't want to write 7 books of nothing. I don't want anything to do with that. If I can't achieve this, then I don't want it. I don't deserve it. I don't want to do this the wrong way. And you remind me of myself when I was younger. I think is your enthusiasm, especially. So.
Yeah, I think it's a very exciting subject. I like the idea of something that hasn't been solved, and anybody. I mean, that's the other thing too. This subject, anybody can be involved in it, and that's why we have so many different opinions and different theories and all that thing. All that out there. But I like to be a part of it. I like to, since I'm in Washington State, where it's popular here. Bigfoot's popular here. That if I can get out there, then I'll get my chance and do it. And I think it's a real nice thing. It's a real nice thing to do. Even getting out there to hike around and just enjoy nature, I think is a big plus too.
Yep.
So yeah, I I don't know where this is going to take me. I've never had a full sighting before. Who knows if I ever will? I know there's been researchers like the Four Horsemen who would never. They've been searching all their lives and they never found anything. Right?
You know why? All they did was fight amongst themselves. That's all they did.
Exactly.
That's all they did. Look,
exactly.
I admire and I love Renee DeHenden. I didn't know the other ones, but I can tell you this, that's all they did. They were more concerned about suing each other's asses off and stealing from each other. And that's the truth. They did. They stole from one another. So, I mean, that's why her and I originally stepped out of this. Originally, all them years ago was without internet and all that. We stepped out of this because we were sick of it.
Right.
The lying and the backbiting and the suing and we're just like
nothing was any different back then. It's just intensified now by the internet.
Technology has intensified everything.
Yeah.
And like I said, anybody can be involved in this. So you got to get it's I call it Bigfoot politics. I mean, people probably say it too, Bigfoot politics.
Yes.
You get all sorts of people into it, and it gets very political in that way. I don't know. That's the thing. Yeah, it's just because the subject hasn't been scientifically proven, like anybody can be involved in it, and it's just going to be, I don't know. It's just some big weird party where everybody's doing their own thing, and
so
I don't know.
Tell us, when you and I met, you told me a little story of the conference you had gone to, and don't be afraid about telling about this person who was pointing out things that weren't there. But you and I were at the same conference. Now I was too stupid to realize that was a woo conference, whereas my wife, she was like, we weren't there an hour and she was back at the hotel and she never came back, and we were there for the weekend. So she was just like, ugh. But I sat through that going, oh my God, like an idiot. I learned when I walked out of there finally on the last day, I was like scratching my head going, what the hell? And she's like, dummy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to my fair share of conferences, and while I enjoy them, while I enjoy meeting the people there, I'm not trying to say anything bad about anybody, but
right.
I don't know. Is it really more about sharing the information or trying to sell things? I mean, that's my only problem with them. But I enjoy them. I enjoy hearing the people talk. I enjoy hearing the people share their stories. But also conferences are really also just sell as well. So, and for me, that's just not something I would ever participate in terms of you'll never see me present my evidence up on a stage like that, or I'll never sell a book, kind of like we were saying earlier. I'm not going to sell a book on it, but yeah, I don't want to be that kind of researcher, I guess.
That's kind of where I'm at too. But so you were taken to what camp were you taken to by this group of people straight up out of that conference there at Bumping Lake?
Which camp?
Yeah. Did they take you to Bumping Lake or was it a different area? You and your dad both went.
Yeah. You mean to the conference?
Yeah. When on the Sunday, you everybody was supposed to go head up to this other spot, and Tom Cottrell was out there pointing out Bigfoots that weren't there.
I think that was. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think that was up in the Blue Mountains up there. Yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about anybody.
No, that's.
I mean, I'm not trying. I don't want to start any kind of like. I'm just gonna say like I was pointing out possible Bigfoots on a hill, and I personally didn't get to see them. I didn't get to see them up there, but somebody told me that they were up there. So
pointing them out, right? I mean, that's what your dad told me. It was literally pointing them out, and you're going, what?
Yeah, I personally couldn't see them, but I mean, I don't know how to explain that, man.
It's okay. You're a better man than I am, Tristan. I'll call a mother effer out, boy, but it's good. You're a better man than I am. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing is like, a lot of this subject has a lot of perspectives, a lot of opinions, a lot of people, a lot of beliefs, and I guess I try to be neutral on that. I try to respect everybody's opinions, and if they believe Bigfoot can do mind speak, it can go through portals, has orbs. I mean, this subject is really wide open for interpretation. So I personally, I could say anything. I'll just say anything can be possible, but I haven't seen those things. I haven't experienced those things. So for me, I can't say from personal experience that that's happening. But I know people who have experienced those things and have told me those things.
Steve says you failed the woo test.
No,
I don't see it.
No, I just think it's I don't know. You're just gonna get a whole bunch of different minds and perspectives on this whole subject, and it could explain things. It may not explain things. Why we can't see them very often, or who knows? But I haven't experienced some of those things that people have claimed that they've experienced. So I can't say that I'm not saying that they're lying. I'm not saying that they're crazy or they're wrong. I'm just saying from my own personal, from what I've not encountered, I can't say that it's. I think you're trying to know what I'm saying, but I try to stay neutral on the subject. You're good. I encourage everybody to participate in the subject because I think if we have one mindset, that's not good. I think we should all try to be acceptive of everybody's opinions and input on the subject. Because I think
they must all have been the green ones. So.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
It's good. It's good.
I try to be acceptive of everybody's opinions on the subject because if you try to be closed-minded about this whole thing, it's just not going to go well. And I think that's why we're also seeing kind of a divide with this whole in the Bigfoot community because you got people on the quote-unquote woo side and you got people on the scientific side. And I think this subject should encourage everybody to participate in it and be involved in it and share ideas, share experiences. Because like I said, this subject hasn't been proven. So who's to say that some of these things maybe aren't possible because we haven't figured it out yet. And who knows if we ever will. I mean, Patterson, 1967, and here we are with nothing better in terms of 4K. We don't have any 4K evidence or anything like that since then. So I think there's definitely something going on there. I can't explain it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the whole Bigfoot subject. Really, I don't know what. I can't figure. I don't know what these things are. I keep thinking maybe it's a relic hominid that's existed for thousands, millions of years. That's maybe it's an evolved species of Gigantopithecus. Who knows? Maybe it's another form of hominid that's not related to us, who's evolved in its own on its own line, and maybe it's able to have abilities and things that we can't have. So, like the electronic feedback thing, it might have like some kind of energy I don't know, some kind of sensitivity to energy inside of it, and that's why you see eyes glow. People say they see the eyes glow and things like that. I don't know. Maybe it's an evolved form of a hominid that we just don't understand and know about yet. So
I think they're definitely
that's
their own thing.
That's kind of my opinion on it. I mean,
they are definitely their own thing. I think, but I think that anybody that says they go around with glowing eyes, well, we'd have got them a long time ago.
Yeah,
We'd have got them a long time ago. If they walk around with laser beam eyes, we'd have got them a long time ago. So
right.
critical thinking is real important in this, and you're not closed-minded if you don't want to listen to the portal thing and all that. That's not being closed-minded.
Yeah,
You're critically thinking. You're saying to yourself, what makes more sense? I mean, you're using common sense when you go, this thing left footprints, and I always say to the people that say, well, there was only one footprint, and that's a couple guys wrote some books called Where the Footprint Ends. But look, I followed elk where there's one footprint. I followed deer where there's one footprint. So I mean, are they walking through portals and if you would walk through a portal and you're a deer, wouldn't you go to a feed store in the middle of the night and go, oh my God, all the hay and grain I've ever wanted? Same with a Bigfoot. Hey, I'm going to walk through a portal just to shit in the woods and run down a deer or an elk. Or I can come through a portal at Safeway at 2:00 in the morning and eat all their vegetables and their meat, and then just right the hell up here, disappear again.
Right.
So, it's just logic. You're not closed-minded if you use logic.
Yeah.
I always say, and Tristan, keep this in your mind.
Okay.
Just ask people to say, look, if you want me to believe this, then convince me. Show me your evidence, because if you do that and you can convince me, I got no problem. It's like Thomas Steenberg says, there's a real researcher can admit when he's wrong, can say the words, I was wrong.
Right.
So, and I'm completely open to that.
Right.
Show me your evidence to prove to me. And then, I will say, you're right. I was wrong, and I can accept this. So don't ever be polluted by one thing, but don't get polluted by a bunch of things. Stay on a path. A path is what's going to get us there. You're the next generation now. You're very young. Stay on the path, and you're going to get us there. Long after I'm gone, at least you're going to pass this on to someone else in 20 years.
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
Hopefully it won't take 20 more years. But.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, some people have been researching for like 40 years and never had any kind of sighting, and who knows if I ever see one or not. I don't know, but you kind of what you're saying earlier, you got to keep out. You got to keep getting out there in that same spot and keep trying. You got to keep trying. You can't. That's another thing too. You get people who go hiking, go hunting, saying, "Hey, I've never seen anything before." Well, how many times have you been out in that same spot, and how many times a year do you go out there? I mean, and that's the other thing too. Bigfoot is always watching you when you're out there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It's most likely watching you. So, and also to your point there about the being corrected, I think that's also very important for researchers to know that it's okay to be wrong about things and it's okay to be corrected about things. Otherwise, in a way, that is kind of being closed-minded. Is like, oh, if you get a certain kind of evidence and you claim it's a Bigfoot, and you won't accept anybody else to tell you otherwise, I think that's a problem. I don't think it's good for the individual, and I don't think it's good for the subject.
Right.
To try to get that real evidence out there, because if you have false evidence being presented and you stick with that claim and you don't accept to being corrected on that, it really doesn't help anything, and it especially doesn't help the subject of Bigfoot and trying to prove its existence, because having false evidence doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anything. So I think it's very important to what you just said, with it's okay to be corrected, and it's okay to tell you, it's okay to have people tell you that, you might be wrong about something, no matter what evidence you present. Yeah, I think it's always good to have an open door of feedback from people. And it's also good to be open to being wrong about something, and not just say, oh, everything I collect, everything I'm showing you, all these footprints, all this audio, it's all Bigfoot. All this video stuff, it's all Bigfoot. Well, maybe it's not. So I just wanted to point that out too. I mean, I just wanted to hark on your point there, because I think that's very important, because I think that there are some researchers out there who are so into trying to prove Bigfoot's existence that they'll just get whatever evidence they gather, they'll just stick to it, and they won't accept anybody trying to tell them otherwise. And I just don't think I personally don't think that's the right way to go, especially if you're trying to share evidence and share, they're kind of closing discussion when they're doing that. I think it's very important to share and talk about the subject and not be closed-minded on that. Like, just because if somebody's against or disagrees with something that you show or present, it doesn't mean like you have to shut them off or like, I just, again, this whole Bigfoot thing is like, I wish more people could be more inclusive and, talk to each other, because I feel like there's really a divide going on, or it's like political parties or something,
There is. And that's why this is a network that I brought you into. And it's we have the best chat is in this network. And Bill Reed, what he said is very viable. Curious Cryptid. Oh, look, we got, is this your mom, Patricia?
It could be, if it's, that's my mom. Yep.
Oh, wow. She's pretty.
She's got a YouTube page or a YouTube account. I mean, she doesn't have a page, but she does have an account. Yeah. She's watching on there.
Well, it's very nice to have you, Patricia. And I'd like to have you as a guest.
Yeah,
actually.
welcome.
Yeah, she's got some stuff. She's definitely got some stuff that she could share for sure.
How about that? Well, we're going to show some more stuff. Let's show some stuff.
Okay.
Yep. Let's show some pictures.
Okay. And again, any evidence that we show here, I'm not saying for sure it's 100% Bigfoot.
That's okay, Tristan.
There's a disclaimer out there for everybody,
And you're showing that you are a good researcher. Now, see, that's not human.
Yeah, those were found at another lake, not Bumping Lake, but at another lake where the water was really low, and we believe those are baby.
Wow.
Sasquatch prints.
So 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, when we saw those, we didn't think they were human either, because the shape of them looks odd. And this was also found at the same lake. This was in November of 2000. I think it was 2016. It was really. I went out there by myself, and it was really cold out there. And I found these tracks in the mud out there. Yeah. Because there was no water. There's usually water there because the lake was really down during that time, and
almost at peas in a pod.
Right.
Heavily
leaning like a primate. Like kind of look to it. It really struck me when I saw it.
So look at that. You've got your what is that called? That metatarsal
break in the middle. Yep.
You can see that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say this is Sasquatch. I'm just saying that's very intriguing stuff. Look at this. This is now. Wait a minute. Okay.
These were found at Bumping Lake. These were found at Bumping Lake. These ones, just a whole bunch of them. And again, the shape and look of them is just so. Again, it kind of looks like a primate to me. So it's just kind of odd shape, and really long toes on them. It's just really strange. Yeah, and the mid-tarsal break, for those who aren't familiar with it, it's a flexibility in the foot for it to shift its weight as it's placing a foot down, because they put their foot down with their toes. They kind of dig in with their toes as opposed to stepping with their heels like what we do. They kind of dig in. I'm just going
to call that last one a double bear track. That's what it looks like to me, the very last one.
Yeah, it could be.
Because
very well could be.
I don't see it. Just having this off. Well, let me.
I think it's the mid-tarsal break.
That could be very okay. So I got a little bit closer.
It's across there.
And you got this. There's no. I just realized there's no nails.
Yeah.
So, actually,
what do you guys think?
Yeah. What do you guys think, Brent, Donald?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I thought that print originally when I saw it, I thought it was flat looking and kind of like what she just mentioned. There's possibly a mid-tarsal break going on. That's why there's like a bump or an indentation in there, and it's very flat and wide looking. So, but yeah, maybe Donald is correct. Maybe I'm not saying for sure that's a Bigfoot print. It could be a human print.
That's very intriguing because I a lot of times I'll purposely myself step in mud. If her and I go swimming or something like that, and I'll study if how wet the ground is, and then does my foot slide? How do my toes? I noticed that our toes are make try to include something of you need to Tristan start putting something down alongside of it. Carry something with you that you can lay down alongside of them. Wow, geez, I'm really intrigued with this.
Yeah, and that last footprint was one of the footprints that I talked about when we saw them that first time at Bumping Lake, and it was like there was 4 individuals ranging from 8 inches to 10 inches, and I know I didn't show pictures of them, but they had like a long stride in between them, like 37 inches in between some of them. So. Excuse me. We had some people try to duplicate that stride, and they were having trouble doing it. And like I said, it was very cold. In October up there at Bumping Lake, it's very cold up there. So who the heck is walking around barefoot up there? I have no idea. But again, I can't say for sure that's a Bigfoot print. But I thought it was, like you said, I thought it was very interesting too. Just the shape of it was. You don't see much. You don't really see an arch there. A lot of them, I don't see a lot of arches. It's very flat, round looking, like a moccasin kind of a look. So that's what struck me, and that's why I thought, it'd be good to take photos of these, at least for some documentation. So,
well, you're doing the right thing. You are literally doing the right thing. And even if they're not, the thing is, you've got that catalog now, so that you can use that in the future when you're finding better evidence or those things. But you need to start keep a tape with you or a ruler or something and put that beside them and do it sideways too to get the width.
Okay.
And that'll help out a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. 8 inches to 10 during those set of footprints was 8 inches to 10 inches, and there were 4 individuals to answer Harry Mann's question there. I don't know what size that photo was, but
that's Nikki Poo. That's Nikki. That's our Nikki Poo.
Sasquatch. Very well, it could be. I mean, again, who would be up there walking barefoot during that time of year? I have no idea. And those were fresh prints. Fresh prints. Those were fresh prints in the ground. So
fresh prints.
Fresh prints. Hashtag that.
How deep of an impression was your foot leaving?
Oh, that's the other thing too. The depth of the foot was nothing.
Compared to that. How deep?
Yeah. How was your footprint compared to theirs as you were walking on that?
It was not. It was barely making a dent. It wasn't like there was some of the other photos. You can even see some shoe impressions because people were walking around there. They weren't making a dent in the ground compared with, we're talking a few inches for these prints. They were definitely a few inches deep into the earth a little bit. So, I mean, when you see them, you're like, whoa, because they make like a little crater thing, like when you step, it makes like a splash, kind of a look around the print because it's so deep and heavy, into the mud. So it makes that. Whereas, if I'm walking around with the shoe, it doesn't really make that kind of crater to it. So. But yeah, and those appear like those are prints. I keep seeing those up there, and along with I like I said earlier, I think there's a lot of people up there during the summertime, and they do walk around barefoot too. But I just think there's a combination of people and possibly Bigfoot too, because if they're in the same area, they're going to share it, and they're going to, you know, the Bigfoot are going to want to look for clams and that kind of thing along the water's edge, and I think that's what they're doing. I think you're seeing a lot of juveniles on the shorelines and along lake beds when that, you know, when the water goes down, because they like to play and they like to splash around in there. And we found there was a ton of footprints at that during that instance. There was a ton of them. So
let me give you some advice.
Yeah.
Because I have great faith in you, kiddo. Document your own footprints when you're in a situation like that. Even jump up and down.
It's a good idea.
And get your picture of your stuff and the tracks. Have that ruler with you or tape measure, something for size. But it's important that this is how you do this. That way your evidence can be presented in a positive manner without having to guess.
Right.
And it's still going to be a guess, but it's going to be clearer. And
give you a better idea. Yeah, I agree, man. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that going on for sure. I've also found footprints out in the woods too. I mean, they're also pretty deep in the ground. So, and I put like the biggest I found was 17 inches. We actually measured that. But that was in the leaves, and so it's kind of like that's the other thing too. When you try to take photographs of footprints in the woods, it's kind of hard to see in the photograph.
They don't show up
unless they're in really good terrain where you get a lot, where you can see an outline of it on the photo. But when you see it in person, it's a lot easier. But taking a photo, it just looks like crap on the ground, so it's kind of hard to show people footprints out in the wilderness if it's really just a lot of things out on the ground and like leaves and things like that. So
now if you try to do things in the leaves, that's called Gaskyism.
Gaskyism?
Yes.
Okay.
That's Mark Gasky.
Oh, okay.
Gaskyism. So listen, one of the guys that you can learn a lot from is Curious Cryptid. Seriously. Very, very easy man to get a hold of and talk to. Anybody in this network is you can learn a lot from some of these people. And, part of this coalition of critical thinkers is we want to help you younger people to take this over and move this along.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, like sharing knowledge is also, yeah. That's why I was kind of hoping for more people to get involved in, like to not have to fight with each other, but to share knowledge with each other. I think it's important for people doing this now and for the future generations to come. So, yeah.
Donald also has a good point. Start casting. When you have you made casts?
Yeah, we tried making casts of some of those. And again, the weird thing is I think the juveniles might look more humanish, like humanoidish, because I don't think they're not full grown into their big wide. Yeah, I mean we've made some casts, but it's kind of hard to tell because they're not. It's hard to tell because they kind of look similar to a human foot, but they're not like a regular, like a patty cast foot, where you can compare it to that. So even in some of the casts that I've made, it's kind of hard to tell if it's a human or not. But I mean, I know the human has a diagonal toe line thing in the arch. I mean, I can tell that when I see it. But
well, yeah. I encourage you to cast as many. Her and I,
we tried
to be able to find. Welcome, Pandora BVV. We got a lot of new people in the chat tonight. I'm glad to have you guys, Brian and Chewy Go Hiking. This is my good friend Tristan Yolton. I'm glad you guys are here to witness. He's a good kid. So Curious Cryptid is one of the guys. He's come to my camp actually, him and his wife twice, and he's one of the people you can learn a lot from. He's a very intelligent man, and you can have regular conversation with him. And he's been there for me. So a lot of these people that are in this chat and in this network were there to get me through some really tough stuff. So
that's great. to help each other out. I think that's
this
important.
is a very helpful group of people. I'm proud to be a part of it. So I'm glad to bring you into this too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's great. It's great to be a part of it. Thank you.
And I can't wait to meet your mom. Actually, I really want to talk to her too.
I think you'll enjoy talking to her because she has some stuff to definitely tell you. So
what else do we have we can share?
Let's play these other sound clips.
Let's do that.
Okay. Is there more of that audio that you can wait from the first audio? Is there more of that?
Yeah, that's what I put together. This is the second piece of it.
Cool.
It's that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting. Like, yeah, I mean, I wondered if some of that might have been call blasting, but how could that be? How could somebody sustain that kind of vocal for that long? And
yeah,
where has somebody gotten a recording like that? I've never heard of it. So, yeah, you have at least two individuals going on there. So,
yeah,
very loud, very, very loud. And if it was coming from the lake, wow, if that's the case, because I have no idea where it came from exactly. But 2:00 in the morning, who the heck is playing that?
And you were in California camp?
Yeah, that was in California. Oh, wait, I heard it from California camp. Yeah, that's where it was. Yeah.
Well, let's listen to this other one because this one's pretty interesting too. This is towards the end of that recording that you sent.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a crazy voice. I don't know. Somebody could call like that for so long. I don't know who could do that.
There was different tones in that, though, is what gets me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, there could be some coyote there, but I look, I'm no expert, but that's creepy as shit, man. Definitely there was a bunch of different tones in that.
Yeah, and another thing I want to mention is I tried editing out my voice in the clip too, but I actually think there might have been Bigfoot outside our tent by the truck because during the recording you can actually hear it because we had some chairs outside our tent, lawn chairs, and you can hear those being clicked and messed around with a little bit. And I actually think you can kind of hear them talking a little bit too. So that's just my theory, but maybe I could be wrong about that. But I just had that feeling, that there might have been something else at our tent as well as
Patty, she'd pack up and go home. Okay.
Yeah, and again, like the audio doesn't do justice how loud that was. It was just incredibly loud. I mean, it's like an air raid siren times 100
That
almost.
was definitely something I've never. Grant would need to go change.
Yeah. I changed a bunch of pants in a row. You change a bunch of pants and yeah.
Well, welcome, Squatch out of the shadows. Welcome.
Hi, out of the shadows.
Got a good guest tonight. Yeah, that was a banshee sounding type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I kind of call it, is the banshee call. Yeah.
Okay. Were you with your dad or your mom or
during that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just me and my mom camping there during that night.
Just you guys, really. That's amazing. I think that's awesome. You and your mom go out, and she's probably braver than you, right?
Yeah, she's definitely braver. She's not afraid to go out in the dark compared to me. So yeah, she's definitely got yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing too. I don't really go on night walks or anything like that, but I'd like to. But I don't do a lot of night researching. It's just mostly I look for stuff during the day, and then I leave a recorder out at night. And I'll stay up at night, sure, but you won't really see me go out walking at night because a little bit creeped out by it. So
I remember your dad saying that he's like Tristan does some things that get me scared. He says, but my wife just does things that freak me out.
Yeah. It's like kind of, to get the evidence, it's like you have to really go the extra mile and the extra distance, and kind of, take a chance. Yeah, I definitely think it was at least two individuals vocalizing. And again, this was in July. So I don't know if that's like a mating season thing. I have no idea.
Welcome, Gary Johnson. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. I'm happy you're here. So yeah, that's to me, dude, you've got some good stuff. Was there another print there though? I saw a print that I really wanted to look at. Go through that.
I think I sent. Yeah, I think there's.
You got a handprint.
Got a handprint here.
But this did we already look at that?
Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at this handprint.
Yeah, no, this was. I don't believe I have photos of the actual print. I might. And I have a bunch of folders with stuff. But yeah, that was found at Bumping Lake as well. And actually, I do remember seeing that in person. It was we believe it's a juvenile print, and I don't know. I don't know why we think it might have been either sitting or grabbing its hand in the mud for some reason, maybe playing in the mud. I have no idea. But if you look at that hand, I mean, it's different. It's like
yeah,
it really looks different. It's like smaller with those. I don't know it's hard to put up my hand and compare it, but it's strange looking. So yeah, just wanted to share that.
You definitely have some compelling stuff, Tristan. Really inconclusive, but compelling, and it shows me that you're doing the work. You're out there, boots on the ground. You're doing the work. So that, to me, that's very impressive. You're not. Nobody knows who you are, and I know who you are, and that's why I asked you to come on here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I'm happy to share. I'm happy to share the evidence for sure. And again, it's all up for interpretation. People can believe it's not the evidence I'm sharing is Bigfoot or not.
So let's show that again. Grant wants to see it again. I think that's important. You just did it for a second.
The hand?
Yeah.
Oh, they want to see the hand again? Yeah.
Let's go ahead and leave that up for a second.
Yeah, just like the size. I mean, it's pretty small. Like the composition of it looks really small compared to a human's. I don't know. It just looks weird.
And you got this at Bumping?
Yeah, this was up Bumping Lake. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we also got I didn't get a photo of it, but we also got a butt print. Actually, there was two butt prints casted up there in the same area, same general area up in there. This is all by the lake too. These castings are by the lake, at the lake actually. So, yeah. Yeah, I just try to collect as much evidence as I can, and yeah, I just think it's important. It's just to have like a library, a catalog of it, and just keep going. I don't know I don't remember the size of it.
So this is very important. What Steve wants to know, Curious Cryptid, my buddy, uh, was that audio enhanced in any way other than amplification?
I did amplify it a little bit, but other than that, I didn't add any effects. Other than that, I didn't add any effects to it. I just raised the volume a little bit. That's all I did, basically. I just amplified it. No, so I edited down. I just edited down a little bit. I didn't add any effects to make it go echoey or anything like that. That was just the way it originally was. So that's all I did to it. I didn't do anything else. Yeah, exactly. I thought it was a weird shape too. It isn't really like human.
That little finger thing not quite being there.
Yeah.
The thumb was kind of shorter than it should be if it was human.
Yeah, and it looked lower too, right? Like, I don't know, it just looked weird. Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah. Definitely get up there and take a look. Yeah.
These are good people. They're not anybody should not. There's nobody here wanting to screw with you or anything. These are all people that they're in this coalition that we're all about. Let's get this solved and let's do it the right way with honesty. So yeah, that Donald's right. That's a weird shape.
Yeah, I mean that's what caught our eye, and that's why we said, we should cast this. I mean, how many people have seen a handprint?
Right. This is my buddy Grant Seal. This is my best friend in the world.
Thank you, Grant.
Yep.
Thank you.
He's a good guy. Grant's my buddy. It's beer 30 with us two, boy. The only difference between me and Grant is 30 years. Right? I'm just a little bit better looking than him.
Yeah, a lot of the audio I try to get is the speech audio. That's really interesting to me, is the chatter and the speech, and I find out like I get that a lot, even at it's weird. It's like when you're in an area, you don't hear that, but when you listen to the recorder afterward, like I didn't hear that when I was there, but it was there. Like,
you told us
on the recorder.
You told us to look at our recorder.
Yeah.
When we were done, because you don't hear that stuff. And when you sent us your stuff, we didn't have anything on ours. But we tried everything from playing music and those types of things. But it's still great. But still, I was on my guard that entire week, and it felt like there was something there. That is an incredible place to be. I can't wait to get some people up there.
And in rock camp there, for example, like they'll come in and watch you. Like they'll just sit up on that hill there and they'll just watch you the whole time, and they even will mimic. Like we had some people in the group make some like whoa, and then you would actually on the recorder even some of the people in the group heard it too, but on the recorders you'll hear it the same woo-ha mimicked, far away,
right
up on the hill. So
I think if we could get now, that's closer, I think, to Steve Anderson and his wife. I think that's closer to Brent. And I think that if we could get a group of us to dominate both those camps, what I mean is somebody get up there early enough to get the California camp, get the rock camp, and then we can communicate back and forth. Now, look, I can't do a lot of walking anymore, but I will host the camps and I will cook for everyone. Okay. And it will document everything we can document to find out what's going on up there. This place has got too many people coming throughout the world and people from the other end of this country to spend a month there. So we need to get there.
Well, it's very, I mean, that's some of the other reasons why we had this stay at California camp is because rock camp was taken sometimes. And it's a well-known place. There's other Bigfoot researchers and they go there too.
Let's let everybody know every stinking stump, didn't matter if it was 4 feet off the ground or 2 feet off the ground, every stump, every big rock, everything had a gift on it. And I mean multiple gifts. And look, the Sasquatch were taking them, all right?
Yeah.
Right, there was everything from braided rope to screwdrivers, pennies, rocks.
Metallic stuff,
Oh,
rocks. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
Even
just
stuff
like,
that we
and
left there was still there.
there was even on one, there was a dead mouse that was being eaten by ants. I was just like, oh my God.
Wow.
I don't like pellet grills, Donald. I will. I don't think there's. I don't think there's any challenge.
Not even gonna wait, are you?
That's it. No, I'm against them. If you're gonna cook for 50 people,
Yeah.
and so you can put 4 or 5 briskets on something and go tick, 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 use zero skill and go to bed. That to me is not cooking. I put the main ingredient in my cooking is vitamin L, and that's love.
There you go.
And my buddy Dakota Gregory is the one who sends me all these different seasonings and stuff from Brainerd, Minnesota, from the Smokestack barbecue store. And so this weekend, my grandson gets he's earned his first belt in Kajikimbo Kung Fu. And it's a potluck for his ceremony. So I'm going to make ribs. And his great uncle is his Sifu, which is a different word for master, because this is an Eastern form of Kung Fu. It's combat Kung Fu.
Wow.
So my big brother is his master, his Kajikimbo, his teacher. And so we're going to go and film that whole thing. It's going to be a part of the Bigfoot barbecue.
Wow.
Camp cookbook, watching my 9-year-old grandson earn his first belt. And I'm very happy. I'm very excited.
That's
I'm
awesome.
for it too. There's nothing wrong with pellet grills. There's nothing wrong with them, but it doesn't give you the flavor. It doesn't give you the love. So as far as, let's get back on the Bigfoot thing. Quit asking me questions about barbecue. Thank you for that question, Donald. What did Tristan
outside my tent, like I mentioned earlier, I heard we had these launchers outside our tent. I heard those being messed around out there, and you can kind of hear that on the recording too. But I think something was messing with those, and even by the car, there was some bang, like some noises by the car too, and also I thought I could hear voices on the recorder too that weren't mine or my mom's. So that's what. I don't know. I assumed that we weren't alone there. Like they were checking us out, and that's the other thing too. I think they do check you out when you're, when you're inside your tent. They're gonna come around and check out your vehicle and whatever you leave out out of curiosity. So yeah, definitely. I didn't think we were, especially when those vocalizations were going on. I said, "Wow, we are definitely not alone here." So
her and I were camping years and years. I mean, we were very young. Skinny, young. We were in a pup tent. 2 of us, we could never fit in a pup tent now. Not because of her, because of me. But anyway, something literally brushes across the tent, and I'm looking at. We're both awake, and we're watching this. And I thought to myself, I looked at her. I said, "Man, I can't believe these deer." That's what I said. I can't believe these deer. Couldn't have been a damn deer, man. Literally, the way a pup tent's shaped like that. So.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if a deer would be.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if a deer would come up to your tent like that and brush against it. I don't know. It seems like they would try to avoid that kind of a thing.
I need Brian and Chewy I need you on the show, Brian. So. I'm not going to beg you anymore. You send me a message, damn it.
Yeah, I was watching you today, Brian.
Yeah, you got some good stuff too, Brian. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the new year with the research that we've got going on. What are you doing right now, Tristan?
In terms of researching?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an area not too far from where I am, and I've just been going up in there, and I just leave recorders out, and we try to leave some we have tried to habituate them, but it hasn't really worked. We also like my mom will play the harmonica. She'll go up there and play harmonica, and I've also would not because I try to think, well, maybe I might bring them in, and I don't think honestly I don't know if wood. I don't even know if wood making sound matters because I think once they're in their area, they got eyes on you no matter what. So yeah, there's an area not too far from where I am, and I've just been going there because it's closer, and it's been pretty active for a while now. So, but the thing is like I don't get much activity when I'm there. It's only after I leave, only on the recorder do you hear something. Like many times if I leave an area, I hear a whack, like something whacking a tree, and then you might hear a grunt or a vocal. And I think that maybe is a signal to the others that, hey, these humans are gone now. You can come in and check out what they left or what. So yeah, there's this area I've been going to, and it's so far it's been active. I think I might stop pretty soon because it's getting winter, and I don't want to be up.
We just got our first snow today, and it's just barely higher than us, but looks like we're going to be.
That means our spot's closed.
But I'm hoping because it's so light. If it hadn't been for our grandson having his thing this weekend, I would have ran up there and started looking through the snow and stuff. I could tell you who's going to go up there already. Yeah. I guarantee you my buddy Grant's going to go up there at some point this weekend and check it out.
Yeah. If you can get prints in the snow, that'll be awesome.
That's what I'm really wanting to look at.
Yeah, I'd love to find some prints in the snow. I mean, that's for me, that's a rarity to see. So I would love to find those sometime.
Hey, Patrick Vaughn finally showing up. Jeez, that's PV.
Yeah.
So if we hook up this year, Tristan, which I know you will, and I would like you and your mom to come to our spot too.
Cool. But, that'd be great.
I would love to when we do the Bump and Lake thing. I'd like to have your mom there too, and your dad if he wants to. But okay. I'd love to have you guys, the whole family there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, definitely.
I think that's your mom impresses the crap out of me. So
yeah, she definitely has. She's had some possible encounters, so that's all I'm going to say. I don't want her to spoil anything, but she's seen more than I have. I'll just say that. So.
You were telling us that up at Bumping, and your dad too, is that your mom has got some good stuff. So I want to be the first person to have her on the show.
That'd be great.
If she'll do it, I guess I'll reach out to her. What's her name again?
Patricia Yolton. Yeah.
Okay, Patricia Yolton.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki Colon has scored the interview with my wife. So
nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. Well, that's, to me, it's a very important story. What happened to me?
Yeah.
Let's hear it from the eyes of the person that showed up and found me and loves me and all that.
Yeah.
Let's get that percent. So Nikki is going to be the one to do that. And
that'll be great.
I'm looking forward to, I'm not even going to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to be not even in the place and not even in the house when this happens. So cool. I don't want any part of that to be contaminated. So
I gotcha. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that for sure. Yeah. I also just want to say, like, I've never had a full sighting, but I've had a couple of possible sighting or partial sightings. I'll just quickly tell a couple. I'll tell a quick couple stories. There's the lake where I guess not Bumping Lake, but the lake where I got some of those prints that you showed earlier.
Yeah.
There's a hiking trail not too far from there, and I went up there one time with my dog, and this was like getting dusk. Well, not dusk, but it was getting like late in the day, and we came upon, as we were cresting the top of this hill, there was this branch like going right over the trail, like right over the length of the trail, and it was pinned down. The end of it was pinned down on the other side with a stick, like going right over the trail. And I thought I said, wow, that's weird. So that really piqued my interest, and then I said, okay, well, let's keep going and see what I can find. And I kept walking up, and I kept walking on the trail, and eventually forked. And one part of the trail goes up on to another hill, and then another part goes downhill. And I just said, well, I'm just gonna keep going up. And when I started walking up this hill, I looked to the side, and on the gravel, it was kind of like a gravel to the side of the trail. I thought I saw these footprints going in the opposite direction on the side of the trail. And I got, then I got really excited. And so I kept walking up this trail, and then all of a sudden I heard movement up on this ridge about, I'd say 40 to 50 yards away from me. And I heard something like moving up behind these trees. And I could see like a dark tall shape, it moving in between these trees. And my dog did something really weird. He sat down he laid down and sat down behind me, and he just kept looking up the hill. And I thought that was very weird behavior. I mean, my dog was a golden retriever, and he would be, if he's alerted to something, he would either go chase after it or start barking at it. And for him to like sit down behind me and lay down and stare up at the same ridge, I thought was really weird. And whatever it was it would go from left to right behind these trees, and then it would go from right to left, like it was trying to get a good look at me. And eventually, I just stood there and froze and just watched it. And eventually, it just walked right back into the woods. But you can hear as I was walking, it was pretty heavy. So I'm not gonna say it's a Bigfoot, but I thought it was really startling.
See, you're doing this right. You're doing this right, Tristan. You're saying, I'm not saying this is, I'm just saying this. I'm not saying these tracks are Bigfoots. I'm just showing you this. You're on the right track. And hey, Leon, thank you for showing up, buddy. I like to have your support, man. It means a lot to me. I'm glad to see you in the chat. And these guys all in this chat, they're actually diners. Okay. My chat is diners because this is about, food, and we will have a barbecue show. We will have a show that's just specifically about barbecue. Food. But
that's great. Yeah. And one other sighting, we're kind of partial sighting I want to mention is like we were walking on this trail that's about 2 hours away from where I am, and we were going along this bridge. It was kind of like a concrete bridge with these, I don't know, 4 feet concrete rails on each side, and down below this bridge was like a little river, like a little stream. And I wanted to check down below to see if there was any prints on the sandy beach. So my parents kept walking, and my dog was with them. My parents kept walking up the trail with my dog. And I went down below the bridge and I tried to look for footprints, and sadly I didn't see any. But the weird thing is when I looked back up to walk back up onto the bridge, I saw this reddish goldish hair sticking out from above the concrete rails, like the back side of it or the top side of it, like I guess it was quadrupedically, but I could see the top of it kind of like it was running across the bridge. It was like I thought it was my dog because it had like the reddish goldish brown fur to it, but it just ran by the bridge real quickly from where my parents walked to. So it came from the opposite direction, back the way we came from. So I thought it was my dog. So I got back up on the bridge, and I eventually waited for my parents to come back, and I said, "Did Puppy get away from you guys?" And they said, "No, he was with us the whole time." And and when we parked there was nobody else parked there. Like there was no other people, no other cars. So I was pretty I still don't know what that was, but it was. I mean, it had the goldish reddish color of my dog, and I'm not saying it was a dog. I don't even know if it was a Bigfoot, but I just thought it was really weird, and that thing will stick with me because I can't explain what that was. But I just thought it was odd. It had longish hair. It wasn't like, if it was an elk or a deer, I think I would have been able to figure that out. But this thing could have been a juvenile Sasquatch for all I know. But I don't know. I just. That will always stick with me because I can never explain what it was. And that's the thing too. Like, unfortunately, for me, I get these weird glimpses or, these weird little things happen. I'm like, well, is that a Bigfoot? I don't know, but could be. So I'm just waiting for that. I hope I get a nice sighting. A road crossing for me would be nice, but
just be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I know. Be careful what you wish for. Yep.
I want to see one now from about 40 or 50 yards.
Right.
And I can go, okay, I did see that.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was another time where I had where I retrieved a recorder from a tree, and then like another, I'd say about 40, 50 yards into the tree line, I hear this big thing start walking away. And to me, it sounded bipedal, but obviously I couldn't see it, so I can't say for sure if it was an elk or a bear or a Bigfoot. But that freaked me out too. It was like, because I just sat there and I was just hoping to see something through the trees, but I couldn't because it's so dense. It's so dense, some of these forests. And I guess it knew I was there because it didn't want to show itself. But it was pretty heavy. I mean, you could hear it, like it was breaking branches, and it was, I don't know, it sounded heavy. But again, I can't say it's a Bigfoot. But it's these kind of encounters that stick with me. They happen and they stick with me.
So it's like it's not afraid that it knows you're there, but yet it's walking and breaking shit. And that's my boss actually. Him and our lead salesman engineer actually encountered and sent me a wonderful footprint from Mount Adams. They cut their way into this spot turkey hunting and 4-wheel drive low, and they got to this spot, and when they got out, the first thing they saw was it's all gravel and all that except for one spot over here, and there was this perfect print perfect print.
Wow.
About 14 inches long.
Wow.
And they both were like ashamed, embarrassed to even show me. They're like, but I can't account for this. I don't know what it was, but they were telling me that just inside the tree line, something was extremely active, wasn't afraid of them. They went ahead and walked on off and hunted turkey, didn't get anything, but he's like, we're off on this road for a good hour or so. Come start heading back to the truck. And when they got back to the truck where that print was, whatever it was still in the bush there, just inside the bush, just like it was nothing. And he's like, Ian told me, Ian is actually an ex-police officer. He left because of corruption. He didn't want anything to do with corruption. And he was telling me, he says, look, I didn't even want to bring this to you, but he said, I had no choice. You're the Bigfoot guy down here. He's like, I couldn't explain this. So, and that was 2 years ago. So,
wow. And for something to stick around for that long, I mean, that's kind of odd behavior.
Yep.
And even if they knew there were people around, like that's just, you would think if it was a deer or an elk or something, they would just run off. But for it to stick around like that, like it doesn't care, that's very odd behavior. Was it just one footprint that they found?
One, because of the terrain.
Because
of the terrain. And it didn't disappear in the portal or anything.
Yeah.
The rest of the ground, and the way he described it was, it's all gravel except here's this one swirly little spot this big, and there's this print right there. And it was fresh. I mean, I've got the picture, and I'll send it to you.
Oh, great! Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah,
it's a right foot, and it's really something to look at.
Wow!
And it's very soft.
Measure it?
What's that?
Was he able to measure it?
He put a dollar bill next to it. A dollar bill is 6 inches. It was twice the size of it and probably 6 inches wide.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'd love to see that for sure. That's pretty awesome.
Huh. Yeah, and like he said, it bugged the hell out of him being a cop and all that, being an ex-cop and all that he couldn't figure out it wasn't a bear. And I'm looking at this print going, it's not a bear. And it does have those like you said, the peas in the pod toes going all the way to the big toe.
Yeah.
And that was on Mount Adams.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And we're over here at Mount St. Helens, but Mount Adams is just, an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And then you have 4 hours away, 4.5 hours away is Rainier. So
Right. That whole Cascade Range, man, like there's this, that's a gold mine, really is.
Yeah, the Dark Divide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's really something.
It really is. Yeah, it's very exciting.
I wanted to recommend real quick that people subscribe to Brian and Chewy Go Hiking. That is a very good channel. that's worth watching. They do a lot of hiking. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good way to possibly have an encounter, because if the Bigfoot are up above and people go hiking those spots, they might have a good chance of having an encounter up in those spots.
what reminds me of Bumping Lake is that ridge.
Yep.
That you're pointing out behind the camp we were in, Rock Camp, has that huge ridge up there. Okay,
Right.
Where we had our encounter, and we had Brent and Steve up there, is also a ridge, a big ridge that goes through about 6 campsites up there.
Wow.
And so we have experience with Grant Sill. We were up there last year, and his daughter was, and her 14-year-old voice was whooping, and she was getting whoops back per
Nice.
whoop, 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 whoop. And
Awesome.
yeah,
That's great.
it freaks her little sister out to the point where she won't go up there.
Oh,
Poor Pebbles, she's just not going to do it. Oh my God, she was so mad because Brent and Grant went off across the creek and went up into this where I've been researching for these last 5 years, and she was very upset that her dad went up there in the dark.
oh my gosh.
She was
Dark.
She was really upset.
Wow. Wow, that's really cool to get responses, like whoop responses. I actually had that on one of my recordings. So it's really cool to hear a response, response back. That's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Really exciting. Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. That whole area.
Yeah, you got to come down. I want you to come down this summer when we head back. We're going to start heading up there. We head up there spring. The snow's still a little bit there and everything. She can't stand it. She has got to get up there. So, and like I said, if I didn't have things to do this weekend, we'd be up there checking the snow. Checking the snow for sure. So.
Yeah, I've been to Mount St. Helens during the winter before, and I've seen footprints. I think I've seen melted footprints going up one of those roads, those dirt roads up in there near Ashford. So yeah, elevation. Elevation is very important. Getting up in those high areas, for sure.
Well, we're gonna call it a night.
Okay.
I think wow, what a great show. We've had you on for 1 hour and 47 minutes.
That's awesome.
I'm so happy to have had all the diners in the chat tonight, and welcome to new people. Gary Johnson, thank you for showing up tonight. Brian, Chewy, Go Hiking, Raptor Crazy, Donald Fuller. I'm glad to have all of you guys. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for your subscriptions, and keep with us. We're going to have Tristan back again for sure.
Yeah,
I definitely want to have his mom on the show. We have more things we can show you from Tristan Yolton.
Yeah, he has a ton of
stuff.
stuff.
I have a crap ton of audio.
All of it.
I have a lot of audio I could share.
If we showed everything he sent us today, we would just be starting the conversation. Right?
You would be doing this for like a week.
Tristan is a true blue researcher. He is out there. So
he has a ton of stuff, and we'll have him back so we can share more.
I appreciate your time tonight, Tristan, and definitely would like to have you back when we do a round table or something like that. Just have you on as somebody with an opinion.
Totally, yeah. Thank you so much for having me, and I'd love to come back. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much.
And for those of you who don't know, when he's on another show in the chat, it's Kaiju Ninja.
Kaiju Ninja, 1985.
That's right. That's the man right there.
And I don't even have much Bigfoot stuff on there. It's just mostly Godzilla stuff and edited movie trailers and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is I don't have a Bigfoot channel or anything like that.
Yeah, you're getting popular in people's chats, so we got to become a family in this stuff. So it's nice to have you. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, Tristan. And
thank you guys. I really do appreciate it.
We're going to say goodnight, and thank you guys, everybody. Hang out for a second, Tristan, after we're done.
Okay.
And we're going to say goodnight. Leon and Steve, Brent, all of you, Nikki. thank you so much for showing up tonight, and all my new friends. We'll see you next Thursday.
Night, guys.
Bye, you guys. Thanks for showing up.
Bigfoot, nobody loves you. Hell, nobody even likes you. It is because you are of a lower class. If this is you in your picture, okay, you do look a little bit tough. But I know an old boy from Yakov makes you look like a powder puff. We can fight tonight at my house if you think you're man enough. But $100 says you don't show up.
Nice. Good job, Tristan. Jesus, almost 2 hours.